Well, I think that the general market or general residential market is still going to grow in Germany. So we'll see the first time, I think, since 15, 20 years, a serious pickup in building activities, new buildings, residential buildings which are coming to the market. So especially in the kind of center markets, Hamburg, Munich, Berlin, it's getting really tough actually to get your hand on a piece of land in the city areas. So demand is high. People are still moving into the cities. I think the refugee issues, which we are facing in Europe overall right now, particularly in Germany, will clearly bolster that kind of demand. So right now, cities are desperately talking to project developers and investors right now, providing land for free, just build some apartment housing there and get the space there, and after 10 years you can do whatever you want with this building. So that kind of situation. So I think that that the overall market in Germany will grow. I think that the main areas will grow, and in particular, universities or student housing is, I think, a niche which offers a tremendous value right now in Germany. If you look at the UK market, for example, which is kind of early in the curve and where the student housing market was developed very strongly over the last 10 years, transaction volumes in UK just for student housing will hit 3 to 4 billion pound this year. That's a volume. When I entered the German residential real estate market overall back in 2004 and 5, that was the annual transaction volume of the overall residential market in Germany at the time. So, and then if you look particularly in supply and demand situation, 2.8 million students in Germany, and Germany now has the highest amount of universities in the top 200 rankings worldwide, which I found also interesting. So these university cities are growing. The residential markets are tight, and versus 2.8 million students in Germany, you only have 220,000 purpose-built student housing apartments in Germany. So more than 70% of the students right now are on the public market and talking to brokers to get, an apartment in these areas. Where I think, the demand for new purpose-built student housing or conversions of office, for example, into student housing is has enormous potential. So I think over the next 3 to 4 years, I clearly see that there's another, 200,000 or 300,000 student housing apartments needed in that market. And that's why I think, with currently 220,000 in the market, it's a huge demand. So I see that this area will see some tremendous growth, and we also see investors from the US, from the UK, now spreading over to continental Europe, Netherlands, Germany particularly, because I think, in terms of student housing, Germany is still a sleeping giant. So overall, I think, residential in Germany is still a kind of bulletproof investment in these days. And particularly, pension funds, insurance companies, which were also the main investors in our student housing bond, are, desperately looking for debt or equity-related investment in these areas.
Okay, good. And just in terms of the German market, how much of that growth is predicated on there being more international students coming because there are 20 universities in the top 200? Is that part of that growth idea?
Oh, clearly, I think there's two main drivers. One is the overall demand-supply situation. The second thing, of course, is that with the Erasmus program and the kind of international bachelor program right now, we see that the mobility of students within Europe is increasingly heavily. So, researchers anticipate about 15 to 20% growth on international students just for Germany, just because now, 6 months, 12 months time, and then you're switching to other countries right now. So that's a clear driver in that market as well. And, as a, let's say, French, Italian, American parent, what are you looking for when your child is looking for a new apartment? I mean, going to these markets, talking to local brokers, or having kind of institutions where they're kind of proven and have a concept in place, and you also have to address the specific needs. So if you ask students, for example, what is their, biggest point to live, is it internet or is it a shower? they clearly prefer the internet connection in their room. So you really have to look at their very particularly specific needs in that area.